Hello, welcome. This is Montrose Makerspace today for January 16th, 2015. I watched a little bit of last night's video and I decided to change a little bit. I said it was going to be 5 minutes, and so let's try to see if I can stay under that. It was the first one last night, and I had a lot to do yesterday, so I went ahead and, I went long last night, but let's see if I can do it in under 5 minutes today. So at 9 o'clock this morning, um, my main things to get done today were open a bank account and send in a 501c3 application, and also meet with David Crane, who's part of Excellent Marketing here in town. He donated a lot of time to do video production for the Makerspace. So I want to get all that done by noon, grab a little lunch, and then get back to work on my solar electronic load project that I'm working on for my business. But that all got kind of thrown away. Colleen Burke called me and said, "Hey, I want to bring my father over to the Makerspace to give him a tour." Colleen is going to be on our board for the Makerspace, and she hadn't been in yet. So Colleen currently runs a Habitat for the Humanity, for the local edition of Habitat edition, the local chapter of Habitat for Humanity here in Montrose. So when I wanted to get her in before this board meeting on Monday. She said 10 o'clock, and I said that works fine. So I dashed out of the house and went over to the Makerspace, talked to her, and her father didn't actually make it, but her head of construction over there actually did. So his name is Bill Bond, and we took them through. And like the usual type of tour, we get to the end, and Bill had the biggest smile on his face about the different kind of things that he was going to be able to fabricate there. And we talked about corporate membership and having some of their, Habitat purchases a corporate membership, and as part of that, they get X number of year memberships for their employees. So they would like to actually take some of their employees who've demonstrated that they really can work beyond Habitat and run them through the Makerspace so that they can get new job skills and actually, improve their lives and their family lives, and still remain here in Montrose. So that's the thing that we want to actually promote. So then I dashed out of there at 11 o'clock. Now I was late to the meeting with Crane. He was currently, he's down at a company south of town, at the south edge of town, called Solutions. And I walked in and immediately saw that they have a vinyl cutter down there. That's something that we don't have. So that was interesting. He also had they do printing down there, and it's a shipping location. They also have a sound studio. David works on, he was currently working on doing some sound spots. He does bulk advertising buys for radio advertising, and he was mixing together some audio tracks. And I went down to talk to him about being the director on recording these videos of these high school students for the public art exhibit they're working on. He gave me a lot of really good ideas about that. He used to do commercials and advertising for Comcast. So the biggest comment that he's made is that they've done a lot of research, and they figured out that most everyone will tolerate watching a 2-minute video. But if you go, to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, then your retention rate drops. And if you go to 3, it drops quite dramatically. So we're at 4 minutes and 25 seconds right now on this video. And if you've made it this far, well, thanks for hanging in here. And if you made it through last night's mega marathon at about 20 minutes, I really thank you for that. When I was down at David's, we also talked about Chroma Key Studio, so we can do green screen type of things there at the Makerspace. And give me a lot of good ideas there, and an equipment list that we need to have, as well as some pricing. So I'm going to put that on our website as things we're actually looking for donation. And blew out of there. It was going to be an hour meeting, but I think it took about 2.5 hours. And I got a call in the parking lot about someone from Grand Junction who's looking for, wanted to know what kind of equipment list we have. So I sent him to the website, and I asked him what specifically he wanted. He wants a water jet cutter, which we don't have a water jet cutter, but we can have access to one through Recla Metals as well as Job Site in Delta. So he was, excited to hear that there's local manufacturers that could actually do that type of work here in Montrose. So I referred him to Mike Dupree at Job Site and said, just call Mike and tell him that we called you, that you talked to me, and that'll help everyone out. So I went to the bank. I opened the bank account. Yay, we have a bank account. We deposited 2 checks, and then immediately turned around and wrote a very large check to the IRS for our 501c3 application. And I got all that the application put in the mail, and I went through the checklist and looked at all of the various things for that. And I found out that some of the appendixes, the articles of incorporation and the bylaws and that kind of thing, they weren't actually signed by the right people. So we didn't get that in the mail, but I'm going to do that on Monday. While I was at the post office, I get a call from Colleen, who's over at Habitat, and she says, "Hey, look, we got these really nice cabinets came in from Telluride. That's a kitchen cabinet set, and she would like to, earmark those for us. But everything that their slogan over there is miss a day, miss a deal. If you don't get over there when they say get over there, then someone's going to buy it." And but I was at the post office doing, trying to get this application out. So I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be there as soon as I can get there." So I show up over there around 3:30, going through the back, and I said, "Hey, I'm here to look at some of these cabinets." So they took me out, and they said, "Oh, we just sold those." So it's okay though, because it was a very large, beautiful set of cabinets that came from a home in Telluride. They were, what do I want to say here? There's too many of them. We need to have an architect come in and look at our lounge. This is a full cabinet set. There was probably 15 different units there. I don't know if we're going to need that many for our lounge. So I pulled out a Habitat, and in another meeting I had today, somebody wanted to know if the Makerspace, when they were going to open and when they could take classes, they wanted to. They're thinking about making a floor in their house, like in the kitchen, out of recycled wood pallets. And so that involves they need to plane the pieces down, and they wanted to know if they'd come over and use a planer. And they wanted to do it, come somewhat immediately. I personally have a planer that I'm going to kind of put into the mix over there. So I said, and this is a personal friend of mine, of my wife's, and I just take my planer that we have, and do your test run. She wants to do a test run of about 3 by 3 feet to see if this is kind of the look that she wants to get. And so I had to go get my planer out of my old office, and while I was there, I got a printer and a copier for Susan, the executive director of the Makerspace. I picked up all that, and then on the way home, I remember I was supposed to get home around 1. Now it's 4:30. I stopped and I talked to the local cable provider here in town, Charter, and I talked to some field technician. I need a big chunk of aluminum. I used to work in the cable industry, and I worked on fiber to cable translators and amplifiers for line amplifiers that go on the telephone poles. And I'd like to get one of their enclosures, because it's a giant heat sink for this solar electronic load I'm working on. So I kind of found out how the local operation works, and I have the name of the service manager over there. I'm going to stop by on Monday and see if I can get something if they got a pile of stuff like that in the back. Well, I got home about 5, and I worked on the back end. Remember last night I talked to you about this application for a phone. So I worked on the back end for that, wrote some more PHP script, and I also have the integration in with WordPress. So now when you hit submit, all your files and all the attachments go up and get created. A directory is created that's timestamped, and it also creates a WordPress entry that's a private entry, so that when we go and have people can actually help me with the organization of information. Those entries won't show up on the regular blog feed, but they are in there, so we can track these items through a mechanism, and we're just going to use WordPress for that. After that, about 6:30, I just about fell asleep at dinner, and then I came home and I spent the evening with my wife, and then she went to bed, and I immediately fell asleep in the chair I was sitting in, and I woke up at 11 and I walked the dogs, and that gave me enough energy to turn on the recorder and record my 5-minute spot for today, which is now 11 minutes. So I'm going to close out here with a thank you for sticking in for these 11 minutes. And this is the Montrose Makerspace today for January 16, 2015.